My name is Vivian. I vividly remember that fateful night at my younger brother Leo's graduation dinner. The dining room was filled with the warm glow of candles and the chatter of my extended family. Little did they know that this dinner would turn into a turning point in my life. As the evening progressed, my father, Robert, stood up with a glass of fine wine in his hand. With a proud smile, he announced, "We're putting Leo's name on the house. He deserves a fresh start after graduation." Before I could even utter a word, my mother, Grace, looked straight at me and let out a laugh. "Of course we are. Vivian has paid the mortgage for 6 years. Let's consider that her final contribution. After all, she's always been the family's piggy bank, not the daughter." The whole table erupted into laughter. My Uncle Henry, my mother's boisterous brother, clapped heartily. Cousin Lily, whom I had helped financially during a tough time, joined in the laughter, covering her mouth with her hand. I sat there, stunned, but I refused to show my pain. Instead, I reached into my bag and pulled out the sealed envelope that my grandmother's attorney had given me 18 months ago. I had never opened it, but I knew it held the key to the truth. I placed the envelope quietly on the table. As I started to read the contents aloud, the laughter in the room gradually died down. By the time I read the third sentence, the room was completely silent. The words I read not only proved that I was the rightful owner of the house but also revealed that my family had been plotting against me for years. Now, let me take you back to the beginning of this long and arduous journey. I was 26 when my life took an unexpected turn. I had just been promoted to a senior position at a tech startup, and my salary had increased significantly. I was living in a small apartment in the city, dreaming of a better future. One Sunday afternoon, my father called me. His voice sounded strained, and he said, "Vivian, I need to ask you for a favor. My business has hit a rough patch, and I can't make the mortgage payment this month. Can you help me out?" I didn't hesitate. I loved my family, and I wanted to support them. So, I agreed to pay the mortgage for a few months until my father got back on his feet. A few hours later, my grandmother, Edith, called me. She knew about my father's request and advised me to set up an automatic transfer directly to the bank. "Vivian, always keep a paper trail," she said. "And if anything seems off, call Cordelia Ashworth. She's my attorney, and she'll help you." I followed her advice and set up the automatic transfer. Over the next 6 years, I continued to pay the mortgage without complaint. I made sacrifices, giving up my dreams of traveling and buying a place of my own. I thought I was doing the right thing for my family, but I was wrong. During those years, my grandmother started recording conversations at family dinners. She wanted to document what was being said when I wasn't around. She knew that my parents were taking advantage of me, but she couldn't stop them. My brother Leo, who was 22 at the time, was about to graduate from college. My parents saw this as an opportunity to take the house from me. They came up with a plan to get me to sign a quit-claim deed, transferring the house to Leo. One New Year's Eve, I was at a party with my colleague, Sarah. She reminded me to audit my autopays. When I checked my bank app, I noticed something strange about the mortgage payment. It showed that the borrower was my grandmother's estate in me, and the transfer had been made in March 2025. I thought it was a bank error at first, but I decided to look into it later. As the months passed, I missed a few mortgage payments because I had paused the autopay. My father didn't tell me that the bank had sent delinquency notices. Instead, he started working with a real estate attorney, Mr. Thompson, to clean up the title and make it look like Leo was the rightful owner. On the day of Leo's graduation dinner, I knew something was wrong. I could feel the tension in the air. My Aunt Margaret, who had always been on my side, whispered to me, "Vivian, be careful. I have a bad feeling about this." When my father made the announcement, and my mother's cruel words cut through me like a knife, I knew it was time to fight back. I opened the envelope that my grandmother had left for me. Inside, there were several items: a USB drive with recordings of my parents' conversations, a copy of my grandmother's will, an executive's deed transferring the house to me, and a letter from my grandmother. The letter was a heartfelt message. My grandmother wrote, "Vivian, if you're reading this, it means you've finally realized the truth. I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you sooner. I left you the house because you've earned it with your hard work and silence. Don't trust kindness when it has a deadline. Measure yourself by who you can stand up from." I read 3 key sentences from the documents aloud. The first was from the will, stating that I was the rightful heir of the house. The second was about my grandmother's recordings and how my parents had given their consent. The third was a conversation where my mother said, "Once Leo's name is on the house, she has nothing left to give. She'll either keep paying or disappear. Either way, we win." The impact of these words was immediate. My mother's face turned pale, and my father sat there, speechless. My brother Leo looked shocked and confused. He had no idea about the scheme. After that night, I took control of the situation. I transferred the money to cover the missed mortgage payments and enabled the autopay. I also contacted Cordelia, who sent letters to my parents and brother. The letter to my parents informed them that I was the legal owner of the house and offered them a 12-month lease at market rate. They had 60 days to sign or vacate. My parents were angry and tried to call me, but I didn't answer. My Aunt Margaret and Uncle George supported me. My brother Leo came to my apartment the next day. He was heartbroken to learn the truth. He said, "Vivian, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I want to be a real brother to you." We decided to move forward together. I rented the house to my parents, and they started paying rent. Cordelia inspected the property every quarter. I also started to rebuild my relationship with Leo. We now have dinner together every Sunday, and we talk about our grandmother and our hopes for the future. The experience taught me a valuable lesson. I no longer carry the burden of being the family's piggy bank. I've learned to stand up for myself and to value my own worth. My grandmother's words, "Don't measure yourself by who lets you sit at the table. Measure yourself by who you can stand up from," have become my guiding principle. And although I didn't win in the traditional sense, I've gained a new sense of self-respect and a stronger bond with my brother.